Hi, I'm Kristen, the dietitian. Now that we're approaching the new year, I know many people are going to start thinking about what kind of New Year's resolutions they want to make for 2025. I do want to provide some ideas for you on New Year's resolutions that are health focused but not weight loss centered. Weight loss in itself, for anyone who's overweight or obese, is important because overweight and obesity can cause much greater risk for things like heart disease, type 2 diabetes, sleep apnea, osteoarthritis, many kinds of cancers. The list goes on and on. So weight is really an important part of our health, but I do want to provide you with some other health-focused goals. A lot of times when we make healthy lifestyle changes, weight loss may come along with the other benefits that you may be seeking. So today I am providing you with 9 New Year's resolutions that are health focused but not weight loss centered. So one goal that you might want to consider pursuing is to increase your fruits and vegetables. So I know you probably hear about this all of the time, but there's good reason. Fruits and vegetables have the benefit of adding lots of vitamins and minerals to your diet along with fiber and antioxidants. So some ways to increase fruits and vegetables: you can try and increase the number of servings you eat over the course of 1 week. So if you're a person who has maybe 3 servings of vegetable per week, 5 servings of fruit per week, maybe you would consider increasing to 1 serving of vegetable per day along with an extra additional serving of fruit per day. So there's different ways you can go about pursuing this goal. You can start small and increase your way up to what is considered a really healthy diet, which would be 7 to 9 servings of fruit and vegetables per day. Other health organizations recommend is at least 5 servings a day. I like to encourage people to follow the plate method example, which would provide you with 3 servings of fruit and 3 servings of vegetable per day. But wherever you are, just consider what you think you'd be able to do to challenge yourself to eat more fruits and vegetables. Also consider the different ways we can get fruits and veggies in our diet. Yes, you can buy fresh fruits and fresh vegetables and prepare them that way. You can also consider buying frozen. You can consider buying canned. I would always recommend you rinse off any canned vegetables to decrease the amount of sodium or salt you're getting in those canned veggies. You can consider using dried fruit as a fruit serving, but remember that dried fruit has a more concentrated amount of sugar, so a serving is actually 2 tablespoons for dried fruit. You can also incorporate fruits and veggies into other foods. For example, if you are big on drinking smoothies, you can always fit fruits and veggies into a smoothie. And you can also add fruits and veggies to anything you're cooking. I love to add veggies to my eggs. If I'm making soups or stews, I love adding vegetables to those. So there's a lot of ways you can be creative with this goal. Another goal that you can consider for your New Year's resolution is to try and eat out less. So generally when we eat out, whether it's fast food or a nice sit-down restaurant, we're going to be eating more calories, more sodium, more added sugars than if we were to cook at home. So, and not to mention the cost savings. So eating out is way more expensive than cooking a meal at home. So this is a goal that you can approach in different ways as well. So let's say you eat out 5 times a week and you're looking to decrease how frequent you do that. One way is to decrease to eating out just twice a week. Let's say you tend to eat out for lunch every day while you're at work. You could try and reduce this to once or twice a week by planning healthy packed lunches that you bring. Or you can consider just eating out on the 1 or 2 weeknights where you're super busy, your kids have a lot of activities, you're driving all around. It might be still helpful for you to have that night to eat out for dinner. But just think about when it might be easier to add in some more home-cooked meals. The third option I have to suggest for a New Year's resolution that's health-focused is to learn how to cook. So there are a good amount of people that really just don't know how to cook, or maybe they don't enjoy cooking. So to really improve health and through the foods that you eat, cooking at home is really important. When we cook at home, we tend to use healthier ingredients, more simple ingredients that don't have a lot of additives or preservatives, and we can really control what we put in our food, and we can know what's in our food. And we do tend to cook healthier compared to when we eat out. Kind of like what I was mentioning for the suggestion to decrease how often you eat out, and part of that may be also learning how to cook. You can take a local cooking class, or if you have a friend or family member who likes to cook, maybe ask to tag alongside them and learn how to cook from them. If you have any healthcare resources nearby that provide cooking demos, sometimes hospital dietitians will do cooking demos. This would be a great option as well. You can pick up cookbooks from your library and see what you like, trying to opt for easier to cook recipe books if you're a beginner. Cooking at home does not have to be complicated. I think that sometimes, we may associate cooking at home with really complicated recipes, with complicated techniques that we're not familiar with, but it doesn't have to be that way. Cooking can be simple, it can be enjoyable, and I do think that if you're someone who does not like cooking, if you were to gain more experience with cooking, you may find that you actually do enjoy it. So the fourth idea I have for you on a health-focused New Year's resolution is to try and exercise more often. So this kind of goal would improve health, strength, flexibility, cardiovascular, respiratory health. All of these things would improve with regular exercise. There are different ways to approach this goal with frequency and intensity. If you're someone who really does not enjoy exercise, I would encourage you to think about some physical activities that you may actually enjoy and didn't really realize could be considered exercise. For example, gardening, or if you like to play basketball, or you like to play catch with your kids. Do you like to go on walks or hikes? Do you like to walk through nature trails? All of those are considered exercise. Also bike riding, playing tennis or badminton. There's so many different options. Exercise does not just have to look like going to the gym and lifting heavy weights on a machine, running on a treadmill. Those are all great options, but there's so many ways we can approach exercising. Now, when you're choosing an exercise goal, always make sure it's safe for you to increase the amount you're exercising. This is something that would be good to check with your doctor on if you're not sure. But if you're someone who does not currently exercise at all, starting slow with something that feels enjoyable and not too difficult is probably the best way to start. So it could be going from no exercise to walking for 15 to 20 minutes 5 days a week, or even 3 days a week. Or if you do like to walk already, you can increase how long you're walking, how many minutes, and you can increase the number of days. If you're someone who does cardiovascular exercise but you're not strength training, adding in strength training is a great way to boost your metabolism, increase strength. And then if you're someone who has no flexibility or stretching of any kind, that would be a great thing to add into your current exercise regimen. So again, start with thinking about where you're at now and where you would like to be. How many days a week would you like to start exercising? You may need to build up to it gradually, but you can increase number of days, number of minutes, or both. If you're strength training, you can increase number of reps or number of muscle groups that you are working on. For myself, I love to go on walks for exercise. I do some running. I have started over the past year strength training pretty regularly, probably about twice a week, which may not sound like a lot, but compared to what I was doing before, that is a lot more strength training, and I'm really proud of that. But I also consider things like bike riding and hiking with my kids as exercise, and those are some of my favorite ways to get out, to get active. Okay, the fifth option I want to talk to you about in terms of what you could consider for a New Year's resolution is to limit or reduce added sugars in your diet. Now, when I say this, I don't mean that you necessarily have to remove all added sugars from your diet. That's not really a reasonable, practical goal, and it's not really a lifestyle that I believe most people can follow. We want to choose goals that we can pursue forever if possible, or just most of our life, or at least long term, things we can do for a long time to promote and improve our health. So limiting added sugars or reducing them is going to provide a lot of health benefits. It's going to reduce excess calorie intake, where the calories from sugar really don't offer nutrition, it's just energy. Most of us can meet the amount of energy we need quite easily. So some ways we can limit added sugars, we can reduce the amount we take in through drinks. So this could be like soda pops, juice, sweetened coffees. We can also, when we cook at home or bake at home, a lot of times you can reduce the amount of sugar in a recipe by half. You wouldn't even miss it. And you may also start to become aware of other flavors in your food. I've noticed a lot of desserts tend to just taste sweet, but when we start to emphasize other flavors in our baking, we can really enjoy some unique flavors that are not masked by sugar. In general, it is recommended that we limit sugars, added sugars, to less than 10% of our daily calorie intake. So for example, if you're someone who followed a 1,500 calorie diet, you would want less than 150 calories to come from added sugars. When you divide 150 by 4, which is 4 calories per gram of sugar, that would be just under 38 grams of added sugar per day. Which, I don't know if that sounds like a lot or not to you, but if you look at a can of soda pop, one can has around that much sugar. And so you wouldn't realize it, but you could easily go over your sugar, your recommended sugar allowance. And a lot of foods, especially prepackaged, pre-prepared things, have sugar in them, and things that you wouldn't expect, like salad dressings, any baking mixes. A lot of fast foods and also restaurant foods have sugar in them when you wouldn't expect. So one other way that you can really try to limit added sugars is to check nutrition fact labels. Go to total carbohydrates, and under that you'll see a subcategory for added sugars. And then you can start to notice which foods you buy that have a lot of added sugars in them. Now, I do think that part of eating healthy is being able to enjoy dessert. Not necessarily every day or at every meal, of course, but being able to enjoy dessert without feeling guilt, and with actually being able to enjoy it and savor it, I think that's healthy. But I do think most of us, including myself, eat dessert more often than would be considered healthy. So another goal that you might want to consider for your New Year's resolution is to limit screen time. So this is a big one that I think a lot of us have heard of, but it's really challenging to do. Screen time includes your computer use at work, it includes time looking at your phone, it includes TV, movies, video games, a lot of the activities that we all enjoy. So one way to approach this is to actually figure out how much time you are spending on a screen every day and over the course of 1 week. It may be surprising to you to figure out how much time you're actually spending on screens. Then consider a goal. What would you like to reduce that number to? Again, I don't think that going to 0 or very minimal is necessary, but even if we just cut screen time down by 25% or 50% of what we currently do, we would find we'd have a lot more time. It would help with our mental health, improving any issues with anxiety or depression. I would also encourage you to think about what you might want to do instead of spending time on a screen, and what would you use that time for. So some things that you may want to consider doing in place of screen time could be reading, it could be playing board games, going on walks or exercising. It could be doing those projects around the house that you've been meaning to do but haven't had time. Could be sleeping and resting more. Could be working on a fun activity that you've wanted to do for a while, or take up a hobby that you've meant to start but haven't found the time to do. Could be just connecting with those around you better, instead of having your face stuck in a screen. So I think this could be a great option for many people to try and improve their health and well-being. Another great goal that you may want to consider for a New Year's resolution is to decrease the amount of stress in your life. This can be a really challenging goal. A lot of times we just don't know where to start. But I think if you took some time to reflect on some of the major stressors in your life, what are some things you could do to change? How can you decrease those stressors? How can you find support or help to help you with those things that are most difficult in your life? Another way to also decrease stress is to spend time praying, meditating, reading scripture. I know for me, when I'm most stressed or anxious, I love to read through the book of Psalms. It's the most comforting and encouraging book in the Bible when I am feeling that way myself. Decreasing stress can be difficult to measure, but if you are to journal, you can write out the ways you're feeling when you feel really stressed. You can try and keep track of how frequent you're feeling that way, and comparing to after you've made some changes. Are you feeling stressed, highly stressed less often? Another way to decrease stress is to sleep more. If you're not sleeping enough, you're likely to feel more stressed out, and stress and anxiety can also affect quality of sleep. It's kind of like a cycle. So improving your sleep habits and getting enough sleep can help reduce stress. And for anyone who is really struggling and cannot improve things on their own with their own efforts, seeking out help from a therapist or counselor can be a great way to find some support that you need. So an eighth option you may want to consider for a New Year's health-focused resolution is to eat more whole grain foods. So this would be choosing whole grains over white refined grains. Whole grains have a more complete part of the grain so that you're getting more fiber, more vitamins, more minerals, and also more antioxidants and phytochemicals. When I talk about whole grains, I'm talking about choosing brown rice over white rice, whole wheat flour over white flour. Oats are considered a whole grain as well, and so is corn. Corn is a starchy vegetable technically, but you grind it into a cornmeal type flour, it's considered a whole grain. Corn tortillas are a whole grain as well. There's many ways to get whole grains in your diet. It's being mindful of how many servings of refined grains are you currently eating per day, and a great goal could be to try and replace half of those with whole grains. So let's say you're having 6 to 8 servings of white grains per day. Try and switch half of those out for whole grains. Or if you want to try and go all whole grain, this would be a great option too. Just remember that when you switch to whole grains, you're increasing fiber intake. And if you're going from a low fiber diet to very high fiber over a short period of time, it may cause some GI distress, some gas, stomach pain. So it is best to go slow, to increase slowly over time, and if you're able to increase your fluid, your water intake, can help ease that transition to the whole grains. And one more option that you may want to consider for a health-focused New Year's resolution is to eat less meat. So while I don't think that a vegetarian or vegan diet is for everyone, I do think that most people can benefit from reducing the total amount of meat products that they're eating every week. So when someone is following a vegetarian diet, they are going to have a reduced risk of things like heart disease, cancers, and type 2 diabetes. The same is true when you reduce the number of servings of meat you have every week. So if you're someone who has 4 or more servings of meat per week and you reduce it to just 2 servings a week, you're going to see health benefits from that. So this would look like replacing meats with things like beans, lentils, nuts, and seeds, and whole grains. Whole grains also provide more protein compared to white refined grains. So if you choose to go with this goal, you may want to consider which days of the week you do want to eat meat, and then plan the rest of your meals around meat-free meals. I have several recipes on my blog that are meat-free, so if you want to check those out, I'll include a link to my blog below, and I hope you check it out. And I hope that this video has given you some good health-focused New Year's resolution ideas. Again, I don't think that we should always be trying to focus on weight. I do think weight loss can be very important for many people. But if you choose a different health-focused goal, You can see benefits to your health without weight loss, but you will likely also see some weight loss if you pursue some of these goals. No matter what you choose to do for your New Year's resolutions, I hope that you have a blessed and healthy and happy new year. Thank you for watching, and I'm looking forward to putting out my next video for you. Please message below in the comments. Let me know which New Year's resolutions you choose to go with this year.